Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of the Alford Sports Talk Show. I'm Alan, and today we have a wonderful guest for you. We have none other than the founder of American Girls Baseball, Sue Zipay, joining us. She's, in addition to being the founder, she's also a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame and also appeared in the movie A League of Our Own. We have the wonderful, gifted Sue Zipay joining us here on the Alford Sports Talk Show, and we'll bring her on in just a few minutes. But before we do that, let's go ahead and thank our wonderful sponsor, Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce. So delicious and addicting, you may need a support group. Feel free to visit my great friend, Chef G's, right here in beautiful Tampa, Florida, at 301 South 22nd Street, Tampa, Florida. If you can't come down to Tampa, it's quite all right. Feel free to visit Chef G's right here at flbbqsauce.com. Again, it's flbbqsauce.com. Don't forget that wonderful sauce. And without further ado, let's bring on Sue Zipay from the American Girls Baseball. Let's go. All right, welcome everybody to another great episode of the Alford Sports Talk Show. We're joined by an outstanding guest. We have Sue Zipay from the American Girls Baseball, the founder, and we're gonna hear from her. So how you been?
I've been fine, not too bad for an old woman.
Okay, that's good. And speaking of that, you just had a birthday. You celebrated your 90th birthday. Talk about that experience.
That was not an experience. I don't count them. I don't want to talk about them anymore. But my family gave me a nice birthday gift. And, you know, the fact that all my three children were together with me, that was all I needed.
That's awesome, man. That's fantastic. And
I just talked to another member of the All-Americans before I talked to you. Chris Ballinger from, I think she's from Kalamazoo, and she's 91, so she was complaining how awful 91 is, so I'm not looking forward to that one.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to it because we want you to be around. And in fact, talk about your journey. How did you come up with the idea to start American Girls Baseball?
Oh boy. Well, you know, when I finished playing baseball, I got married and raised three children. And I got into tennis when I was about 35, and that became my second sport. And then I moved to Florida, and we bought a small tennis club here, and I taught and played until I couldn't do it anymore. And I went back to one of the reunion meetings for the All-American Girls Professional Baseball Association. And a couple of the players were talking about the fact that they felt that organization wasn't doing anything to promote women's baseball. And I thought, you know, that's true. It's been umpty-ump. How many years has it been? Since 1954 when we entered? A lot of years, and since 1943, a lot more years. And there's a mission in our documents that says that we were supposed to be promoting girls and women's baseball. So I thought that's what I need to do. And I got in touch with a few of the modern day baseball players, and Kevin Martin, who is a coach and has been supporting women's baseball for, 25 years, I think, financially and as a coach. And that's how it all began in 2019. So I had the All-American, what I call the motherboard. They worked with me initially, and we got the organization put together, American Girls Baseball. And so we have our own board of directors and our own mission and our own articles. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, and you're extremely passionate about getting, girls and women to have their own league, and that's remarkable. Talk about that journey as far as some of the highs and lows of having your foundation.
Highs and lows. Well, the highs were when we finally had our first All-American Women's Baseball Classic in Sarasota, Florida, here at the Ed Smith Orioles Spring Training Stadium. And I decided that the four teams that were going to participate were named after the first four teams that ever played in the All-Americans in 1943. So that would be the Rockford Peaches and the South Bend Blue Sox, the Racine Bells, and the Comets. My old brain doesn't keep up with details anymore. So we put them together. Kevin Martin, who was a coach, knew all the women, good ones, bad ones, and what have you, and he helped me put together one of the strongest teams we could put together. We got some girls from Canada that came to play, some of their best, and Australia, I think, is another place where we can pick up some really good players, and I understand Japan they're the number one women's baseball team in the whole world. And it went off really, really well. The coaches were retired Major League Baseball coaches, along with a female who knew the players, and the men were there for, like Tom Hanks in the movie, wave your little red hat so the fans will come, that type of thing. So it went really, really well, and I was so exhausted after that, but so pleased, but very disappointed because we didn't get enough people up in the stands to see what caliber these women can play. And that first year I had Dick Drago. If you know who Dick was, he lived up in Tampa area, and he was excited to be chosen as a coach for the women. And when we first started playing, and he was in the dugout, and he looked at me and he said, "Sue, I didn't know women could play baseball like this. I'm going to have to tell my 4,000 Facebook followers."
Yeah.
So that just tells you that even the men in the major leagues recognize talent when they see it. And there was some fantastic baseball played during that. And then the second year, same thing. We got even stronger players. We had almost all of the World Cup players that have been chosen to represent USA, and they'll be playing up at Thunder Bay in Canada. I think it's in July. I'm not sure. I think it's July. So the level went up even higher than the first year. And I'm hoping that we can do it again this year, but running out of money because, we don't have deep pockets like the MLB or USA or whatever. But it was really difficult getting some sponsors that first year or two. And right now, I think the purse strings have been tightened up and we're having a really hard time. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do Classic number 3.
Yeah, I was so honored to watch Classic number 2. And you're right, Sue, that the level of talent was so good. I you had to see it to believe it, kind of. And when I saw it, I was like, man, these girls are really, really good. It's disappointing in a way that you don't get all the support you need for these girls.
Well, it is, because that's just the top of the crop. There's thousands of these young girls across the country now that played Little League until they were 12. And then I hear them crying to me, "Sue, we have to go play softball and we don't like softball." And I'm thinking, that is so wrong. That was me 80 years ago when I used to cry because I couldn't play on the boys' high school baseball team and I was better than most of them. So that just goes to show you that there's a need for it. I don't know why. It's my thought. We were the very first women's professional team in any sport, the very first. And why haven't we got a professional team now? We've got soccer, we've got tennis, we've got, you name it, wrestling, they've got ice hockey, and no baseball. So that's what my goal was. Let's get a professional women's team so these girls can have a choice and they don't have to go to softball and get a softball scholarship in college. We need to have baseball for them to get a scholarship. We need to play them on the boys' baseball teams if they have to start off. But somebody's got to take a look at this and see these women play. And somebody with some deep pockets maybe will look and say, this can be a good business proposition. And it can. And would you like me to expound a little bit more on what my long-term thing is and where they would play?
Please, yes, definitely.
Okay, well, I live here in Englewood, Florida. My tennis club that I bought is still right next door and my son runs it now. But there's all these spring stadiums here. And why couldn't we use them during September, October, November, December, and January, 4 or 5 months during that time of the year when they're not busy and they're looking for revenue? And the baseball season's all over. There's no baseball anywhere. And all the snowbirds are coming down and they're staying here, and all the older people that live here who love baseball. And the women could put on a really good professional league during those months at these 4 or 5 or whatever spring stadiums, would be willing to work with us, help us get going. Everybody will make some money and the girls will have a place to go. That's what I think can happen if we can just find the right people to put it together. That's not me. I'm just getting it going. I just want people to see it. If they see it, then they get excited about it. And that's the thing. They have to see it. So how do we get the stands filled up, Alan?
You got to keep advertising and do things like this, do interviews and let people know about the team and how good it is, because I've been spreading the word since I saw it. I was like, man, these girls can play. I was thoroughly impressed at the level of caliber of talent. You had some girls there that play USA baseball.
Yeah,
it was really something to see. And talk about that. Like, what a lot of people told me while I was there was that you played for the flights and everything. It wasn't just them like taking a bus.
Well, that was the thing. It was just like they were professionals. And of course, a lot of the girls are spoiled. We're from a different generation, so it's kind of hard for me sometimes when I see that a lot of them are not willing to give in order to get. And when we played, we all said we would have played for nothing. Just the opportunity to play on a professional team was good enough for us. But these girls have to realize they need to help somehow or another. A lot of them do, some of them don't. And their parents are very willing. They're just really happy to help. But it was the money. It takes a lot. We paid for all their airline transportation, all their rooms, meals. It was a freebie for all of them, and the uniforms, and that's not cheap. Even just getting the uniforms made up and put together, and then assigning the details of the work to just put together the schedule itself. And then we had a free clinic. So everything was free. We provided the clinic, we provided the players' expenses, and we didn't get hardly anybody in the stands because all of a sudden there was some other sports events going on in Sarasota, and it just didn't happen. So I was hoping we could do something up in Tampa this year. I think we'd be better off with flights going into Tampa. They'd be cheaper and more easier to schedule. Probably get a better deal in the hotel, but I'm having trouble. The ones that would like to do it are doing construction during that time of the year, and I still don't have the money, so I can't start paying for a contract when you don't have funds to pay for it.
Yeah. Explain a little bit in more detail, how can the girls contribute more to help this league, the girls that are playing?
I'm not into trying to raise money and funding and all that, but they could just ask their friends, pay for their transportation. Maybe we could get something out there where each girl tries to get her own people to pay for her expenses. I don't know. There's got to be some ways to get some money, because I know there's people out there that would give it if they just knew. I mean, if you go on our website, we have a page there that says, how can you help and donate? And they can pick and choose. And they can become a member, which only costs $50 for a single membership, $75 for a family. And I don't know what else to do.
Don't worry. We're going to make sure that you have that classic. We're going to keep that streak going. That's an awesome streak.
It would be a shame for it to not continue on. And I don't know if I can do it more than this probably would be by last year, except as maybe a consultant if I'm still alive. But, when you get to be 90, I'm not thinking 5 years down the line. I'm saying time is not on my side. And the players that are left feel very strongly about what I'm doing. They all want to see another pro league before they go up to that big diamond in the sky.
And speaking of diamond in the sky, talk about your appearance in that movie, A League of Its Own. Talk about that experience.
I played with that. That was a lot of fun. I was only up at Cooperstown when they did the last filming shots, and Penny Marshall landed on Doubleday Field in a helicopter and came walking over to the fence and said, "Where's Beans?" And I was supposed to be Beans. And anyhow, she had me hitting in the movie. And so if you see the movie, when Gina Davis drops her bag, walks into the Cooperstown ball field and looks around, and there's somebody up at bat hitting, that's me. I have on a red hat, and so my role was to hit the ball over second, line drive, and then run to second, and do that over and over and over. And I was having a great time. The next day, I could barely walk. I hurt my knee. That kind of ended some of my tournament tennis days, because I had to have a knee replacement when I got back. So, and also when you see all the women walking in Cooperstown and saying, "Let's get a picture of the Peaches," I'm sitting in the front row there making a silly face, which is my personality. I'm kind of a whatever.
Yeah, well, definitely people need to watch a movie, A League of Its Own, and check out those, pay extra close attention to those shots in the movie so they can see you. So, but they get a chance to see how important it is for women and girls to have their league of their own, for them to play.
That's all we ever wanted. And I always had a feeling, and maybe I'm wrong, but I always had a feeling that MLB spent all their time, effort, and money to promote softball, because their theory was softball is for women and baseball is for the guys. And I thought, whoever came up with that? They're so two different games. I'll tell you, if people go to watch the women's game, they'll see a fast game. A lot of people get on base because you don't have a lot of walks and a lot of standing around, a lot of spitting and scratching and whatever else they do. And it's a fast game, a lot of base running, and it's a 7-inning game. So the people that complain now about Major League Baseball being too long to sit there and watch it for 2 or 3 or 4 hours in a row, people just aren't going to spend that kind of time anymore doing it. So I think the women's game is something that I enjoy watching.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm excited about it. I think things are going to work itself out and you'll be back. And we just need to get, you said, a location.
And
girls money. The girls need to give a little bit more. Team effort.
Well, I'm trying to get hold of some of these people that have several $1 million, and what's a few million to get it started. I did try to get hold of Tom Hanks. I would love to have him come on board and be part of a group of people that would fund a women's pro league, because guess what? What kind of publicity would he have? Incredible across the country. If Tom Hanks is now part of a new league of his own, he's got $310 million, the Google says. What's 10 more?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There is money out there. You just got to find the right person or persons, and it'll be right there.
Yeah, I can think of a few people, except that, I can't get in touch with them. That's it. When they're that kind of people like that, you just don't get a phone number offhand. So Derek Jeter is another one. Okay, maybe he'll watch this. He has 3 daughters. I think they're athletic too. If we can find somebody with an athletic daughter who's really good at baseball, those are the people that we want.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring him up. In fact, one of the players, in fact, did say that Anna Kimbrell, she had brought up the fact that her inspiration was Derek Jeter. So
Yeah.
it's ironic you brought him up, but he does have three girls, and anything's possible.
Well, especially a Major League Baseball player who has a very athletic girl. I mean, that was, and of course, you do know that Misty Wrigley, that was funny because the All-American board had asked me to see if I could find a Wrigley descendant somewhere. And we searched around and lo and behold, found out Misty Wrigley lived in Sarasota. She's the granddaughter of Philip Wrigley, who started our league in 1943. So I got in touch with her through her business, it's Wrigley Media, which is based in Kentucky. And her secretary said she's flying back to Kentucky and she'll call you when she gets in. And this is my story. So I said, oh yeah. And I thought, sure, right, she'll call me. Well, lo and behold, she did. Nicest person you'd ever want to meet, earthy as can be. And when we spoke on the phone, we just kind of connected, had a nice talk. And then I said to her, and I used to be a Rockford Peach. And when I said that, I thought she would scream. It was so funny. So she has been a big supporter of the games and what I'm trying to do ever since I talked to her. It's been 2 or 3 years now. And she was a sponsor the last couple of years. And she's not into baseball at all. She's into horses. She drives a chariot. She has a gold medal from the Olympics from driving one of those, I call it a chariot, but you know what I mean, with 6 or 8 horses. I don't know how she does that, but God love her, she's an athlete just like I am, and a gold medal to boot. They own the polo club here in Sarasota, by the way. So if anybody wants to go enjoy watching polo, that's where to go. So if people like Misty and other people that like baseball, it wouldn't have to be one person. It could be several that would help us out.
Yeah, one person who's really a big advocate was Carol Sheldon, who takes a lot of the pictures. Talk about her contribution to the league.
Yeah. Oh, Carol Sheldon. She's on our board.
Yeah. She really promotes it. She told me all about it, and when I went to the game, and she's a big promoter of the league, so it's amazing. And also Sandra Kimbrell.
Yep. Oh, Sandra's, she's never promoting, never. She's great. She keeps sending me names. Call this person. Call that person. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a matter of meeting the right person and making that connection. I'm gonna keep bringing to people's ears and talking to them, letting them know that you need a location. Tampa would be ideal.
I would love to have a major league stadium because that makes it look professional, especially for the players. They loved it. I mean, I think they really felt like they were pros with the uniforms and the stadium, and it was great. So I have spoken to Steinbrenner, and they're doing construction during the dates. And I think the same thing with the Blue Jays. Think they are. I'm not sure. I haven't got a definite no yet. And I've also been trying to get in touch with the Phillies. So those are 3. If you can think of any more, I don't know about the Rays. But that would be the best location. And I think I can get a place down in Fort Myers, but that wouldn't be as good because of the airport situation, the flying in and the hotels.
Well, the Rays may not be so bad because they do have an small airport there. So that I wouldn't eliminate them from contention. I'm just thinking.
You're talking about the St. Pete airport, or?
Yeah, there's a small little airport there, and then they could fly into Tampa there. It's not so far. If you fly into Tampa, it's a bit of a drive, but it's not out of the realm.
Yeah, but you need a big international airport because some of the people are coming from Canada and not, like I said, maybe even Australia. So
logistically, we'll work it out, and I definitely am gonna talk to some people and see what we can come up with. Yeah. Any help is definitely appreciated. We have until next year, correct? No, later this year.
November 22, 3, 4, and maybe the 25th. We're trying to figure out the schedule for the free clinic. So those would be the dates, 22, 3, and 4, which is the weekend right before Thanksgiving. A lot of people came here last year and spend Thanksgiving here in Florida. So that was a good idea. But I don't remember seeing you there, but I was so busy during the tournament, I just didn't see much of anybody.
Oh yeah, I was out there taking pictures and interviews, running around. I saw you on the field with the medals. You were right behind home plate, but I was running around talking to the people and doing like what I do at most events, taking pictures, trying to get interviews, and Yeah, running around a lot.
So you were doing your thing and I was doing my thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
I'm glad.
it was awesome. It really was awesome at Ed Smith Stadium.
Yeah, yeah.
So is Ed Smith Stadium off the chart because of the location, or is still a possibility less the flights?
I don't know if they've since leased it out to someone else, but the biggest problem was lacrosse. Lacrosse tournament had about 10,000 people here last year during the same time, and they've already contracted with IMG for 2 more years or 3 more years, I can't remember which, at the same time. And I said, okay, well, then that settles it, because all those people were going to the lacrosse. What happened was, I guess the coaches come here for a convention, and then they decided to have their national tournament for all the high school players in the country, and they all ended up here on the same weekend, which made it difficult.
Yeah, you're right. But hey, I'm just gonna keep praying and talking, and I'm gonna reach out to Derek Jeter, see what he says. I mean, this got to be a sign that everybody keeps talking about Derek Jeter.
Can you get in touch with him? Can you get me a phone number?
Anything is possible. I will say that in life, that
Okay.
anything is possible. I can't guarantee no phone number. I don't have Derek Jeter's phone number, but anything is possible. I'm worked in the media long enough to know that the circle is a lot smaller than you think. If we are able to get in touch with Derek Jeter, how can he reach out to you?
Do you have my email?
Yep. Okay.
And my phone number. Do you want my phone number?
Yep. I have it. Yep.
Okay. Anyone here most of the time. I don't work. I sit here and try to figure out how I can make this work.
Definitely. I will definitely see what I could do. And I'm sure Derek is going to see this too. So we'll see.
There was a gentleman down in Houston, Texas, that apparently had put together a 5-year plan for a women's pro league with MLB. I don't know if you knew about that or not.
Okay.
He was one of the owners of the Houston Astros. And then he had an event planner whose name was, I forget, Saban, whatever. And they were interested in what I was doing, so they sent a couple people up here to watch the tournament last year. Anyhow, Major League Baseball turned him down. They said it wasn't profitable, what he had produced. So I thought, well, come up with something that is profitable. And I think what I propose is you don't have flight transportation all over the country. They're right here in one geographic location, right? And you can have them all put up in a hotel if we have to, or even some of the people around here. We used to stay in private homes. We could arrange private homes for them if we had to. So this would be the cheapest way to have a pro league, is to have them right here in these stadiums and put them up here.
That's right. League of its own. We got Tom Hanks, Derek Jeter. Yeah. Anybody else you think would be a good candidate?
Well, let me see. I did speak with Bob Hope, who had the Silver Bullets. But again, that was their problem. They spent so much money flying the women all over the country just to play a men's team. You can't survive with that. I can remember, I think AT&T funded them $1 million when they first started, but it didn't last. And by the way, we have one of the players that played on that, Tamara Holmes. Have you interviewed Tamara Holmes?
No, I have not. I definitely should.
She's like 45 or 46 or 47, and she played in the games this last year. You probably saw her. One of the best.
Yes. I did see her. That's right. I did not get a chance to interview her, but yeah, I saw her. She was doing her thing.
Oh, you got to talk to her. She's a great girl. Great girl.
Yes.
Been playing all this time, and yeah.
That's right. Well, I definitely am confident things are going to go on. Don't think negatively, think positively. It's a team effort. It's going to make it happen.
You're keeping
women's baseball got to thrive, and it's going to thrive. You girls need like the movie said, a league of their own.
Yeah, well, everybody else in the world that's a female is getting into professional sports, but what about baseball? Come on, gang. Even I'm disappointed with Billie Jean King. I've spoken to her several times. She spoke at one of our dinners or something, and she just funded a hockey team, and I thought, thank you very much.
Yeah. And one mutual friend we have is Mark Corbett. He's done some great work from Baseball Biz and the Tampa Museum. Talk about their contribution.
Nice guy. Yeah, I think he said he had a speech he was going to make for Florida Blue in Sarasota last week. He was going to see if he could do something with them, get them to sponsor us. But if you know somebody that would like to be a sponsor, we get them in the programs. Their name will be up on the big screen in all of our publications, everything. That's all I can offer.
There you go. That's enough for them to support right there. So that's fantastic. It's been an honor having you, Sue Zipay. That's right, from American Girls Baseball. Make sure you guys reach out and help them out in any way possible. Any help is welcome. But thank you so much for joining us here on the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for asking me, Alan. You're great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, yeah, the great
Thank,
motivator. Okay.
thank you.
All right. Thank you.
You are.